Hey y'all, this is Chuck Doug. We're going through Joe's transmission today. Jonas, near and dear to my heart, building a big block G-body Malibu. Um, actually, hold that thought. Not sure if it's a Malibu, but it's definitely going in a G. You guys are familiar with my my 9-second 79 Malibu. Took a bit of time to get that thing going as fast as it did, but it was a very fun project. So when I see other guys doing that and just doing this kind of stuff that you don't see a lot of around here, like big tire racing, that kind of stuff, you know, it's very similar to any sort of limited traction classes. And if you look at it like that, you'll see that these guys are out here doing the same thing that you're doing. They're trying to race on limited traction and, you know, they're basically keeping the sport alive is what's going on. If you look at all the people out there that are doing stuff with cars, you definitely have to appreciate the big tires, big rim stuff. So, what are we doing to hold big block power? The stock for LA80E will hold up to 750 horsepower with the stock internal hard parts. It's just a few upgrades that we want to do. Basically, we're going to simplify the hydraulic circuit by removing a couple notoriously leaky circuits, which are the third and fourth gear accumulator. We're going to get rid of a couple rinky-dink changes that they went to save money. Essentially, the spring retainer in the intermediate clutch, they went to an integrated spring and retainer system. We're taking it back to the Turbo 400 style with this heavy duty spring retainer. In that same clutch, we add a beefier snap ring and dual feed third gear at the same point in the transmission. And then to get the bump and line pressure we want to get those internal wet clutches to hold the more horsepower. The way most folks do it, and I like to do it, is just with a little bit heavier duty main pressure regulator spring. I have these custom made at Lee Spring, and then at the same time, I take the pressure regulator boost valve and update it to the Sonax style. This also cures another problem that the 4L80E has, which is with overpressuring. This little plug with the O-ring goes at the far end of the pressure regulator bore. What happens is the plug that's in there from the factory gets loose, and pressure can leak past that, and it makes the whole pressure regulator system come out of balance and overpressure. So by putting an O-ring there, you eliminate the possibility for that leak, and then pressures can remain, you know, under control. It won't run away high. And I think probably the most important thing that you can do for a 4L80E, believe it or not, is to stabilize the intermediate pressure plate. That's essentially the second gear clutches that slot into the lugs here in the case. Because the OEM case is missing 1/5 of the lugs, adding one of these little case savers gives you a lug in the middle of that place. That hole right here slots onto the front band pin, and then this will catch the top edge of your snap ring over that gap. That prevents that pressure plate from flexing under increased load. Since we're bumping up the pressure, we're going to have more pressure holding that clutch and more of a likelihood that it's going to deform the piston and deform the pressure plate. When that pressure plate deforms, you get little burn spots on the plates and the clutches. See how that's starting to blacken up? That should be a nice green color. Should be more like these. Well, that one's got some burn marks too. Oh, that's the same transmission. But we got fresh ones right here. Like so. We'll put some new steels in there, and by preventing that pressure plate from flexing, we should make that second gear clutch hold a lot longer. The most important thing to remember about these 4L80s is to always pull them down into third gear while you're doing burnouts and beating on them, basically turning the transmission into a turbo 400. It locks the whole overdrive planetary assembly together, turning it into a turbo 400, much stronger in D3. There's some other things you can do to get around it, but for most folks, just pull it into D3 when you're gonna beat on it, and it'll be good. Always make sure it's full of fluid. It's pretty sensitive to that. And if you can, run a bigger cooler and a deeper pan. You don't need a ton of stall if you got big block torque. So we're gonna set Joe up with something around 25 to 2800. Yeah. If you guys have any questions, hit me up, the 4L80E guy. Talk to you later.